It is competition time. This is Best Brain right here on your station of choice, Citi TV. It's been an incredible couple of weeks of great competition between some of the best schools that you'll find around the country. But now, we are in the semi-final stage of the contest. 3 schools have made it so far to this stage. They've represented with their project, but how exactly are they going to go about answering that project? When we come back, we get to see what that project is, we get to meet our judges, and then we get to see what the students have in store for you. My name is Philippa Sean. I am your quiz master. Remember, you can get in touch with us using the hashtag BestBrain, because this is where knowledge lives. We'll be right back after this break for some riveting competition. Incredible stuff right here on Citi TV. This is Best Brain. And for the next couple of minutes, we are going to be thrilled by 3 schools. Yes, 3 schools have made it so far to the semi-final stage of the competition. Silicon Valley International School, Christ the King International School, and Happy Kids School have made it to the semi-final. Of these 3 schools, 2 of them will move to the grand finale. And of the 2 of them, 1 school will be crowned champion. But which school will that be? We'll be finding out soon. But 3 individuals are responsible for helping us to decide which of the schools will actually make it to the grand finale. I speak of our judges. Now, our very first judge has a special interest in maths and science, environmental science to be specific. His name is Joseph Ebusa. Thank you so much for joining us, Joseph.
Thank you.
Our second judge, his focus is more on general education. Very, very committed to ensuring that children get the very best of education. His name is Courage Nobi. Courage, thank you so much for making time. Our final judge holds one of the names of our first judge, but his focus is on English language. So I have to be very careful when I'm around him. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Joseph Appiah, our third judge. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And now, it's time for us to be introduced to the 3 schools who have made it thus far into the competition. As I said, Silicon Valley International School, Christ the King International School, and Happy Kids School. Earlier, we had a little balloting session, and it appears our very first school that will be presenting to us is Christ the King International School. When we return, Christ the King will hope to woo you with their presentation as to how exactly they want to help alleviate this very lovely country of ours, of all the filth and all the things that just don't look very good on our streets. My name is Philippa Sean. I am your quiz master. But remember that this show is proudly sponsored by Blue Knight Limited, the Knowledge Haven. When we return, we shall get to meet Christ the King International School.
Mahuntu yao men kase won fa ho muma yin nansum yen fo kruyen ensin cry me hutu o say ya yesa efi bekuyen say ya yesa efi bekuyen kana ma
Ow, gaman. Ake feni fale moyole no moye jen ani wale noko keji na kaile meba moni muji suwa waneke ablekuma abakuma wane hilo fon femo pete ade santri heta mama nu joy ke fai ke mutoi ke shamli fe yi ke muji anu wi ana yi ke dry ni je rubber ni bi ayewo numli he lai baba o etete she jake moko ebo moko hesai meba muji so woneke ablekuma abakuma wona hilo
Enkwan bi kropon. Brebiare wiembe yi mununkum. Na afato ye mumbetu no. Na atu efie won kran yem hihie. Adinti na won mohu. Ye naka, nsubontin, nsuwansuwa. Akwa ye ne fefefe. Ene yi rubber ni nra, nesabie. Na ye mo rese yi. Adinti ni fi mini yensa. Suweni bue yenhra ananu.
Accra, ma capitale, qui est devant les maisons, les rues et des lieux de travail. Quand quelqu'un niche tombe à Accra, nos parents sont emmenés prématurément dans les tombes. Les distractions et les déplacements sont décourageants. Quel dommage! Pourquoi ce nom n'est pas les salaires? Nous manquons de sagesse. Nous manquons de sagesse. Nous manquons de sagesse. L'urbanisation étant une malédiction ou une bénédiction, Dieu nous accorde la victoire.
Say yes, if he bekuyen. Say yes, if he bekuyen. Ghana.
We represent Christ the King International School and we're grateful to God for granting us the opportunity. The environmental challenge that is tearing Accra into shreds is poor waste management. Waste management is the system of managing waste from the generation to the final disposal of the waste in the most appropriate area in order not to create inconveniences to the inhabitants. Waste management implies that everyone must take care of their own waste. A lot of waste is generated in 5 main places in Accra: the markets, schools, households, factories, and social gatherings. Market women and men ease themselves in the market and throw the waste into gutters. Droppings of animals are piled up, generating waste in the markets, especially near abattoirs or butcheries. In schools, plastics from book covers and snack packages are generated. Human excreta, which is produced by the inhabitants of the school, is also generated. In homes, plastics like disposable cups, plates, and cutlery are used, generating a lot of waste. Paper waste from newspapers, books, and other paper materials also contribute to generating waste. In factories, plastic cups, plates, and cutlery are used once and disposed of. Discarded materials from factories also contribute to the growing rate of waste in Accra. For example, electronic waste. At social gatherings, polythene bags, disposables, and plastic waste are generated. Unfinished food are also thrown away.
And all these lead to an impact on the environment. And to this, we decided to do an environmental impact assessment. And what is this impact assessment? It is the measuring of a particular group of humans' activities and judging the significance, both positively and negatively, of the changes brought about on the environment by those activities. Simply put, is when you measure human activities and the rate of impact which they have brought on the environment and its adverse effects it has on the inhabitants of the society. Doing an EIA on waste management in Accra, you can find out that Ghana generates about 30,000 metric tons of waste each day, and Accra alone contributes to about 10% of this figure. Landfill sites in Accra receive about 2,500 tons of metric waste in a day. About 86% of this waste that's dumped can be used again, or they are recoverable through recycling. Every year, Accra dumps about 190,000 tons of waste. The World Bank estimated that poor waste management costs Ghana about $290 million every year, and the costs come from the treatment and death of citizens due to poor sanitation and hygiene. Through mathematical projections, one can therefore predict that due to Ghana's large growing economy and labor force, Accra will be the filthiest city in the African continent in the next 10 to 15 years. Ghana will never stop growing, and the more people there are in the society, the more waste will be produced. And the more waste that is produced, the more problems it will cause for the country if not stopped from the source. And it has effects on the environment. What is this environment? The environment is basically the surroundings or conditions in which man and animals live and operate. The environment affected by human activities is divided into two. We have the physical environment, which is the natural surroundings of man and animals, and the social environment, which is the interpersonal relationship between man and how they live and interact with each other. Effects of poor waste management on the physical environment include leading to air pollution, which in turn leads to the destruction of the ozone layer, which covers the earth. It also leads to rise in temperature and heat, since greenhouse gases are kept up in the Earth's atmosphere and warm it up slowly. It can also lead to destruction of vegetation, since the greenhouse gases form acid rain, destroying it. On the social environment, it results in a spread of diseases, since most people either consume the air pollutants or contaminated water, having an effect on their health. It can also lead to brain drain, since most of the well-influenced people in society would want to leave their pollution-prone town for fear of contracting diseases. It can also lead to urban-rural migration, since people living in the cities would want to leave them, since in the villages, keeping a clean environment is highly practiced, and there is less chance of contracting diseases.
Solutions and plan. What is a plan? A plan is a detailed proposal for doing something to achieve a goal. Plans usually involve setting a target or a goal and working towards that goal. We have come up with a plan to help resolve the environmental challenge, and we hope it works effectively. The plan to resolve this problem is to use the simple 5-step scientific method. What is a scientific method? A scientific method is a systematic approach used by scientists to solve problems. It consists of 5 basic steps. Step 1, identification of problem. At this point, we have to ask the right questions to find out what is really causing the problem, or what the problem is. Step 2, making of a hypothesis. Now we have to reason intelligently to find out what per se causes the problem. We found out that ignorance, lack of proper landfill sites, and lack of many recycling facilities causes poor waste management. 3, carrying out experiments and collection of data. At this point, one must now find out to make sure that the hypotheses made were right pertaining to the causes. So, for example, on the places we visited during our quest yielded the required answers, as we found out at CMB markets that many people do not really know about waste management and do not have the correct tools and facilities to execute this properly. 4, analysis of results. Now, one must go through the information given to us at the various places we visited during the experiment, which proved that the hypotheses we made were correct. For example, we found out that when we went there, we found out that they don't know much. That made a hypothesis about ignorance correct. Then 5, making deductions and drawing a conclusion. Since the analysis proved that the hypotheses were correct, then it can further be broken down and implemented correctly. Solutions to ensure proper waste management in Accra. Construction of incinerators. An incinerator is basically a machine that burns waste, cleans the air, and releases it back into the environment to prevent air pollution. 2, most people don't know this, but plastic can be mixed with bitumen to make roads. Though one might complain that it might be slightly more expensive, it lasts longer since plastics do not degrade quickly. 3, recycling. Plastic can be recycled into reusable and eco-friendly items like the dustbin we made here. We made this dustbin out of old bottles from students in our school. We use copper wire and other things to make it. It's very simple and can be made by the lay Ghanaian. Number 4, an award scheme needs to be introduced based on district metropolitan basis to encourage people to keep their surroundings clean. Waste management knowledge must also be introduced into the curriculum of students, right from basic school through to secondary and tertiary institutions, to enable them to control the adverse effects of poor waste management on the environment. 6, plastics can be made into oil through a process known as pyrolysis. It's a term used to describe the decomposition of certain materials under high temperatures. Waste can also be used in the construction industry to build houses and other facilities. It is known as eco-bricks. 8, there's a difference between land dumps and landfills sites. Most people don't know this, but a land dump is where garbage is dropped on the land, but landfill sites garbage is buried with soil, and it usually takes place over a cycle. So when the cycle is done, something new can be built over the buried trash, like a park or a social center. Poor waste management is gradually affecting our climate in unimaginable and unforeseen ways, and we have to stop to enable us to get a better place to live. Cool. The earth is fast becoming more or less a melting ice cream under the Ghanaian sun. Since poor waste management leads to land degradation, and those three factors leads to climate change, especially global warming. And if we are able to do these and many other techniques we have spoken about today, this is how Accra is going to be. Clean and beautiful as God created it. Acknowledgements. Pinterest.com, epd.gov.hk, thebalanceSMB.com, laredosolidwaste.com, blogdecultural.com, and raconteur.net. Thank you.
What a powerful demonstration of everything that this competition stands for. Intelligence, wit, research. I loved it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's now time for us to hear from our judges. And the judges have decided to put all their reactions together and have one person basically present it on their behalf. So we are going to hear from one of our judges for today as he gives us his impressions of the performance of the students from Christ the King International School. Joseph Ebusa will be doing that on behalf of the judges today. Joseph.
Yeah, thank you, Philip. I think on the whole, it's been a very impressive presentation by Christ the King. We are very much impressed about the thought that goes into this presentation. We saw what happened to Lady Accra when she was very dirty, and what happens after the presentation to Mother Accra and how she now looks. Our problem, however, has to do with the time spent on the theories. What is the environment? What is the scientific approach? All those parts could have been cut off for the solution that we really needed. What would the plastic waste be used for, like this demonstration they have given us? Would have loved to see more of that, because this challenge is to fashion out a solution to the environmental problem of Accra. And so if the focus of the school is going into the theories, what is this, what is this, what is this, all of us will get lost on what exactly the solution is. But on the whole, we think it's an impressive performance.
Incredible.
Thanks to Christ the King.
And so that is the commentary from the judges as to how exactly the Christ the King are going to score on their score sheets. I can see a number of things already written there. We will find out at the end of the contest. It's now time for us to welcome our second school. Silicon Valley International School is up next, and they have a powerful, equally powerful presentation for us. Let's welcome them.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nana Ekuya Adeokwanan, and I'm here with Dominic Fatunade and Amo Wusua Frimpong. And we are here to present our project for the semi-finals of Citi TV's Best Brain Quiz competition. The project requirement is as shown on the screen. And going through these steps, we came out with our project, and the outline of the presentation of this project is as is shown on the screen with the title Electronic Waste, the most critical environmental challenge in the city of Accra. The city of Accra has been faced with a lot of environmental challenges, notably floods, poor sanitation, slums, and poor sanitation for some time now, but the most critical one, which has attracted the attention of city dwellers, tourists, diplomats, and even students, is electronic waste, otherwise known as e-waste. Globally, it is estimated that about 50 million metric tons of electronic waste is produced annually, and out of this, a whopping 80%, that is 40 million metric tons, ends up in developing countries like Ghana. Ghana alone is estimated to generate about 100,000 metric tons of electronic waste annually, and out of this, 85%, that is 340,000 metric tons of electronic waste, is generated in the city of Accra alone, which is quite alarming. Going by the average rise of 8% per annum, the city of Accra is likely to generate about 734,034 metric tons of electronic waste by 2029. This means that 10 years from today, the city of Accra is going to generate more than 100% of electronic waste at current levels. Agbogloshi, a suburb of Accra, is estimated to generate about 340,000 metric tons of electronic waste annually, and out of this, only a small amount of 20% is recycled, suggesting that 80%, that is 272,000 metric tons, ends up in our gutters, water bodies, and the ocean, as is seen in the figure on your screen. Clearly, the above statistic shows that electronic waste is gradually engulfing the city, and something urgent must be done about it. And it is for this reason why we undertook electronic waste as our project for the semi-finals of Citi TV's Best Brain Quiz competition. Definition of key terms. Now one may ask, what is electronic waste? Electronic waste refers to all items of electrical and electronic equipment and its parts that has been discarded by its owners without the intent of reuse. Electronic waste is also referred to as waste electrical and electronic equipment, according to the STEP initiative of 2014. Common electronic devices in Ghana are fridges, freezers, irons, microwaves, and the list goes on unending. From the figures I mentioned earlier, one can note that there are very, very high levels of electronic waste in Ghana, particularly in Accra. Why? One of these reasons is poverty. Because many Ghanaians cannot afford brand new products, large consignments of huge and old-fashioned electrical and electronic equipment, discarded mainly in Europe and North America, are imported due to the low enforcement of the LI 932, which bans the import of used air conditioners, fridges and freezers, as well as the unrestricted import of second-hand devices. Though second-hand products serve a huge purpose for many homes, especially low-income homes, these devices usually have a lifespan rarely lasting up to 3 years, and they are discarded at e-waste dumps in not more than a year or two after arrival. Another factor accounting for the high e-waste levels in Ghana is lack of skilled technicians. In Ghana, there are very few technicians who have the skills to repair the numerous devices that we use in this country. Data available as of 2009 show that only 57% of damaged electrical and electronic equipment were repaired, suggesting that the rest of the 43% were never repaired, and obviously the owners had no option than to throw them away. Another factor accounting for the high levels of electronic waste in Accra is lack of storage for damaged electrical and electronic equipment. In Ghana, there is very, very little storage for damaged electrical and electronic equipment. Data available as of 2009 also show that only 8% of damaged electrical and electronic equipment were stored, leaving a whopping figure of about 92% ending up on improper sites. Another reason for this is the lack of collectors and recyclers. In Ghana, only 1% of electronic waste is collected formally. 34% is informally collected, leaving a whole 65% ending up anywhere the owners find fit. And even the 34% that is informally collected is improperly recycled, suggesting that the chemicals that come after the recycling are left and expose the inhabitants of the areas where they are recycled. Positive impact of e-waste. E-waste serves as a source of employment to about 121,800 to 201,600 people, representing 0.82% of the urban population. E-waste also contributes about $105 million to $268 million to the national economy annually. Also, it serves as a source of livelihood to many people. It is estimated that the collectors of e-waste earn about $70 to $140 per month, the refurbishers $190 to $250 per month, and the recyclers $195 to $285 per month. Negative impact of e-waste. Despite the fact that e-waste contributes massively to the national economy and also to the livelihood of many people, e-waste has many negative impacts, especially on the environment. One of these negative impacts is water pollution. E-waste improperly disposed by residents, businesses, and users leads to toxins such as lead and mercury seeping into the groundwater, which flows into homes and industries for domestic and industrial use. Also, it is one of the factors accounting for the rapid pollution of water bodies in Ghana. The pictures you see on your screen depicts the Odo River, which is located very close to the Agbogloshi e-waste dam and is heavily silted with electronic waste that is stored very, very close to it. Another negative impact of electronic waste is air pollution. The pictures you see on your screen were taken from the dam site, and it shows the burning of the electronic waste to extract the valuables from it. From the research conducted, many of the scrap dealers in e-waste burn the plastic residue after retrieving the valuables from e-waste. Toxins from this burning depletes the ozone layer, which leads to global warming. Land degradation. Chemicals like lead, arsenic, and mercury from e-waste seep into the topsoil, which destroys soil fertility. The loss of soil fertility renders the land useless for agricultural activities and also adversely affects the growth of vegetation, which goes to impact the climate negatively. Health hazard. Data recorded has shown that a whole 80% of children living around Agbogloshi area have high levels of lead in their blood due to their exposure to the e-waste. Also, most of the inhabitants of that area and the waste scavengers in e-waste suffer from diseases such as silicosis, severe cough, and headaches. High levels of toxins have also been found in food samples that were collected from that area. Increase in government expenditure. According to the Minister for Works and Housing, Honorable Samuel Atachiam, government is expected to spend about 194.5 million Ghana cedis on drainage projects in Ghana, including the dredging of the Odo River, which is heavily silted with electronic waste. And these resources could have otherwise been used for other developmental projects. Solutions to e-waste. Going through the impact of e-waste, we came out with friendly solutions that will not only save the environment but also make the working condition of the recyclers of e-waste more healthy. One of the solutions to e-waste is proper recycling. Government and the private sector should establish multi-purpose recycling plants for the proper recycling of e-waste. And currently, though we have the largest e-waste dump in our country, there are no recycling plants for e-waste in Ghana, which is quite alarming. And also, manufacturers, distributors of wholesalers of electrical and electronic equipment should be required to take back electrical and electronic equipment after they have been damaged and return them to the proper authorities for proper recycling. Another solutions to the high levels of e-waste is the reuse of e-waste. Companies, industries, and users must be encouraged to reuse e-waste practically to their own advantage. For example, the pictures you see on your screen depicts the reuse of e-waste into photo frames, belts, earrings, and a flower box. Registration of companies dealing with e-waste. Importers or manufacturers of e-waste should be required to register with the Environmental Protection Agency and pay e-waste levy on electronic equipment imported. This levy will cater for the collection, recovery, and environmentally sound disposal of electronic waste. The levy will also provide for the establishment of the e-waste recycling fund, which will finance the management of e-waste and its adverse effects on human health as well as the environment. Construction of modern landfill sites. In order to make use of the scarce land in the city, there must be well-engineered landfill sites for the proper disposal of electronic waste at the outskirts of the city. This will help to accommodate the ever-increasing volume of electronic waste in the city. Restriction on the importation of second-hand electrical and electronic equipment. A ban should be placed on the import of second-hand computers and other electrical and electronic equipment to reduce the high levels of e-waste in Accra. Also, the ban on imports on second-hand fridges is not enforced, so the government agencies must see to its enforcement. Lastly, the import levy on second-hand products must be increased to discourage its import. Education. Educational curriculum should gear towards training the youth and equipping them with skills to repair damaged electrical and electronic equipment to prolong their lifespan. Also, people or the waste scavengers in e-waste should be educated on the proper ways of getting valuables out of e-waste instead of burning them to pollute the environment. Lastly, the relocation of e-waste dumps. Most of the e-waste dumps in Ghana are located right in the city where many people live, and this causes it to have adverse effects on human health. To curb this problem, e-waste dump sites can be relocated to the outskirts of the city to prevent pollution and also health hazards. Restoration of the environment. The Ghanaian environment has already been largely damaged by electronic waste, and to save the lands that have been damaged by electronic waste, these lands can be remediated. We can remediate the land to free it of the toxins that have been deposited in it as a result of electronic waste. We can remove the topsoil, then refill it with another topsoil. Then, we can plant new trees to remove the toxins from the soil as well as to make the land more productive. And these places could otherwise be used as botanical gardens or even recreational centers. Also, the water bodies that have been heavily silted with electronic waste can be dredged and desilted to remove the electronic waste that has blocked the free flow of water. Appropriate media for communication. To communicate our solutions to the general public and also the government, we have planned to use electronic media such as Citi TV and Citi FM, print media such as Daily Graphic, social media such as Facebook and Twitter. Organize campaigns, symposia and public lectures, and also lobby parliaments and civil society organizations to pass legislation against the improper disposal of electronic waste. In conclusion, we have tried in this project to establish the alarming rate of environmental degradation as a result of the existing e-waste, dealt with what e-waste is, and further shown statistics of the negative effects of this canker in our society. We have further researched into friendly solutions to these negative outcomes in order to live in an environment free of pollution. We are hopeful that the powers that be may take our research work seriously and implement it to save the nation from perishing as a result of environmental degradation through e-waste. Thank you. Now, as you saw in the project requirements, we are required to use our knowledge in various subjects to put together this project, and the following is a summary of the use of the various subjects in our presentation. Science. Using science, we discovered diseases such as lead poisoning, lung cancer, and severe cough, which affects people who come into constant contact with electronic waste. Also, we discovered that e-waste causes the depletion of the ozone layer, climate change, as well as loss of the soil fertility. Technology. Using technology, we searched for information and printed out our findings, recorded our interviews, as well as presented our work. Mathematics. Using mathematics, we collected figures and percentages, made calculations, and also proposed import levies and duties. Social studies. Using social studies, we analyzed the interview data, organized the presentation of our project, and also collected facts and figures. And using art, we made the paintings, the flower pots, the photo frames, the earrings, the belts, and the brooch that you see now. And using languages, we wrote the project, interviewed people, and also presented our project. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to walk you through the activities that we undertook for this project. After the Citi TV team presented our project to us, we met and decided on the topic to choose. Many of them, such as poor sanitation, slums, and plastic waste, came into our minds, but we suddenly decided on electronic waste. After that, we made a visit to Abobloshi e-waste dam. The environmental condition there was really bad. There was filthy and smelly due to chilled gutters. We even found it difficult to talk to most of the scavengers due to lack of education, therefore speaking unclear English. We found most children who were supposed to be in school loitering around, running errands for the scavengers and also dismantling the electronic waste. After the visit, we went to EPA office where we conducted a one-on-one interview with a representative there on the effects of electronic waste and ways to curb it. The next day, we met to discuss and analyze the gathered data and made research on the definition of some key terms and wrote the essay on our solutions and findings. The next day, on the 6th November, we stopped writing and the making of the artifacts. In this project, we put in all our time and effort into it and mostly had sleepless nights. We even felt sick in this process. It was the first time we had been to such a dirty environment and looking for electronic waste and ways to solve it. Thank you.
My name is Dominic Fatunade. I'm here to walk you through the process by which we made our various artifacts. First, the flower box. An old television case from Abobloshi e-waste landfill site was taken. It was then cleaned and filled with loamy soil. A flower was then transplanted into it. After that, the edges of the flower pot were then neatly decorated with red glitter tape, as you can see here. The photo frame. A flat cardboard surface was got. Old keyboards from our ICT lab were taken and the keys were removed and washed. After that, we got epoxy glue and then mixed it and spread it across the surface of the cardboard. The keys were then placed in their right positions, which left a space in the middle for the picture to be inserted. After this, we neatly placed the picture in the middle, as you can clearly see here. And for the earrings my dear colleague is wearing, we got an old motherboard from an old computer in our schoolyard, cut it into several pieces, made a hole in each of them, and attached a small hook to it so it can fit in the ear. And then the last one is the belt. For the belt, cables from damaged electronic and electrical equipment in our schoolyard were taken. The cables were then wound together and neatly decorated at the ends to form the belt. Thank you.
Well, Silicon Valley International School there with their presentation. Let's find out now what the judges have to say about that. And Courage Novi will be speaking on behalf of the judges on this one. Courage.
Thank you very much, Philip. Overall, I think a very, very well put together presentation. Very clear and precise use of data. Data from very authoritative sources and all sources well acknowledged, and that's very important when you talk about scientific inquiry. I also like the part about the application of the scientific inquiry and process to the solutions that they define for us. And more importantly, going beyond the solutions within their jurisdiction to talk about what others have to do, because it's an integrated approach to the solution of the challenge that they identify. And I think that was very well and brilliantly put together. Great. So kudos, Silicon Valley. Well done.
That was the reaction of the judges to the presentation by the students from Silicon Valley International School. Phenomenal stuff there, personally, my opinions. But you can also let us know what your thoughts are using the hashtag BestBrain. It's now time for us to meet a very happy bunch of students. They are going to give us a presentation of a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the students from Happy Kids School.
Hi,
Hi everybody, I'm Inshradan Swainkum from Happy Kids School, and I will be taking you through the first part of the presentation, followed by Barbara and Alfred, which will then come back to Barbara and I conclude. For the project, we were tasked to identify any environmental challenge in the city of Accra and give the best methods to these problems. When one walks down the streets of Accra, he thinks to himself, why is the place full of dirt and stench? This is because of the improper disposal of waste and waste management. And we as a team aim to check and ensure timely pickup of waste by waste management companies. According to the statistics by Citi FM in 2015, Ghana was the 10th dirtiest country in the whole world in 2008. And in 2015, Ghana was the 7th dirtiest country in the whole world. This implies that the problem of sanitation in Ghana has worsened at some point in time. And currently this year in 2019, Accra is seen as the 9th dirtiest city in Africa. To a large extent, the challenges of sanitation in Ghana and many other developing countries are linked by the following reasons. The inability to provide proper disposal points for solid waste. Here in Ghana, we do not have the proper means of disposing of our waste. The lack of enforcement of sanitation laws. Sanitation laws are not strictly adhered to and implemented in the society. And also population growth, never leaving out poor financing of sanitation policies, as well as lack of sanitation technologies, among others. And here are some pictures of bins full beyond capacity in Accra. If you take a look at these pictures, what would happen when it rains is that the rainwater will wash away the rubbish by the bins and go into our drainage systems, which will then get choked and lead to flooding. This also happens with these pictures. And here, these are rubbish in neighborhoods. The rubbish around the bins may get scattered and also cause air pollution. And my teammates and I also visited the Kaneshi market. And immediately we go to the market, this is what invited and welcomed us to the market. And for our environmental impact assessment, my team and I took methods of waste management and its impact on the environment, either positive and negative. To begin with, we have the disposing of refuse on landfill sites. Landfill sites are acres of land where solid waste and other types of waste are buried. Currently in Accra, we have 2 landfill sites, one at Citi and the other at Nsawam. This type of waste management tends to release harmful gases into the environment, which causes pollution and also upper respiratory tract infections. And here are the pictures of the 2 landfill sites in Accra, which are at Nsawam and Citi. And also, we are moving on to incineration. What is incineration? Incineration, which is also known as thermal treatment, is the method of burning solid waste with incinerators at a high temperature to convert them into residue and gaseous products. One advantage of this method is that it reduces the volume of solid waste that goes to the landfill site. On the contrary, this method also releases or emits harmful gases such as acid gases and methane, which are poisonous to the environment. Proceeding with recycling, let's invite my teammate Barbara to continue.
So taking off from recycling, recycling is a third component of reduce, reuse, and of course, the recycle waste hierarchy. Some recycling companies in Ghana are the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant, as well as NetPlus Ghana Limited, among others. All these importances of recycling go a long way to tackle climate problems. It also reduces the high demand for fresh raw materials and also reduces energy usage in the sense that using recycled products in manufacturing uses considerably less energy than fresh raw materials. I doubt if any of you would think these waste management companies face any problems. But well, my team and I had a tour to Zumpa Ghana Limited, where we came to the realization that a notable among these problems is the insufficiency of landfill sites. In reference to what Insha said, Ghana has 2 landfill sites. Due to population increase, there has also been the increase in the volume of waste produced by Ghanaians. Therefore, putting pressure on the few landfill sites available and making them to fill up quickly. The second point, which is insufficient waste disposal vehicles and trailers, I think it's self-explanatory, so I wouldn't do much on that. Up to our identified challenge. We citizens have identified that there's a late pickup of refuse by these waste management companies. Due to the huge difference in the length of days for pickup, according to the schedule of these waste management companies, our bins full beyond their capacity and even overflow to spread in the community. Repeating what Insha said, when it rains, the rain washes the refuse into our drainage system, causes blockage, and then lead to floods. Do you know that over 100 capable human resources have been lost or were lost on June 3, 2015 just due to floods? Now, to a smart solution to this heart-saddening problem, let me invite the gentleman of the team to take you through that. Alfred.
My teammates did mention about the problems that waste management companies do face. By using a smart technology to address this challenge, we as a school have come up with a smart bin invention to solve this problem. The name of the invention is the smart bin. A simulation is going to talk about how the scenario is all going to be like. There's this program called Scratch where I'm able to do some programming, and he's tasked to put rubbish into the dustbin. Once the bin is full, the signal is sent. You see, in the making of our invention, we used a recycled gallon for our prototype, a Wi-Fi chip, a microcontroller, a few batteries, a sensor, a laser, a couple of wires, as well as a conduit box. This device is attached to the bin, equipped with a laser to read the signals, using the Ghana Post location address. It is made to have a consistent beep to avoid unawareness or ignorance of a full bin ready to be emptied. How it works? Good question. You see, it is done to create a distinct manner of creating awareness of a full bin. The central idea behind this whole invention is to avoid the situation of late pickup of full bins. Once the rubbish gets to the sensor level, it produces the constant beep. When the bin is full beyond capacity, the sensor automatically detects the full bin and transmits a signal to the waste management company for pickup. Future additions. Since the device works with a network connection, areas within Accra with poor network could be improved by a collaboration with the Ministry of Communications and Telecommunications Network. They can further provide Wi-Fi access points so each bin can connect to the internet successfully. Another possible addition to our invention is for the waste management companies to have a workstation, so that once a bin is full, the dedicated portion lights red indicating a full bin on their screen. The fourth industrial revolution is characterized by the Internet of Things. The fifth generation network is accompanied with software-defined network, which is yet to be introduced in the year 2020 in some parts of the world. One feature of this 5G network is that it is 100 times much better in capacity and speed as compared to the 4G network. This will have a stronger network and easy access to the internet. In addition, a waste management app where customers can actually make payments, rate the work of the waste management company, and select the choice of their waste management company. Another addition is to attach a solar panel to the device or the bin, so that the device on the bin could still run in case of power outages where the strength of the battery is low. We, however, also plan to run a pilot prior to the implementation of this invention. This would go a long way to help improve on it to suit the users of this invention. Up to our plan to reduce sanitation problems in Accra, I would kindly hand it over to my teammate, Barbara.
Mind you, the buzzer can be a nuisance, but it would go a long way to check timely pickup of waste. On to our plan to reduce sanitation problems. We aim to become ambassadors by partnering with relevant institutions within and beyond Ghana. We also intend using our school choir to bring about a song on sanitation, where we'll partner with Citi TV. How we plan to sustain it? There would be a formulation of a call center, as well as we would continually educate the public on the use of our invention. We also intend setting up a monitoring and evaluation team in order to check problems connected with our device. So I would invite Insha to give us the conclusion.
To conclude, Ghana has a long way to go when it comes to sanitation. The solution to this menace does not depend solely on the government, but on every individual. You, and all of us. And in order for this to happen, we must be guards to ensure good, proper disposal of waste and waste management in our country. As students, we have thought of a major environmental problem facing the city of Accra and giving an authentic solution to this problem, which also helps in achieving the Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which is clean water and sanitation, as well as the Clean Ghana initiative, and also making Accra the cleanest city. Se omain beye ya edaye ya yeso medam wase. Now, let's move on to the practicals, where we will show you how the bin works. Stay relaxed and stay tuned.
Okay, so let's get practical. Allow us to take you on a ride to our world of science, our world of technology. So inside this magical conduit box is a microcontroller as well as a Wi-Fi chip. Now, the laser here is directly facing to the sensor. So once there's a blockade, the signal automatically sent to our judges, which are acting as the waste disposal companies. So once there's a blockade, it automatically shows on the screen that bin at this location is full. Not only that, but there's speech synthesis being added to it, which would also read out that the bin is full, as well as the location. So, Ishra, you can fill the bin. Okay. More rubbish, more refuse. Okay. Okay. So once the intensity of light is reduced, our sensor senses it and sends a signal to the waste management companies that bin is full.
What a fantastic mix of science and technology and supreme eloquence, really. It's beautiful to see all these elements coming together. And all of this happens only on Best Brain on Citi TV. Great stuff there from Happy Kids School. But now it's time for us to hear from the judges. Let's hear what they have to say about the performance of the students from Happy Kids School. So, our English teacher, of course, will come to you, Mr. Joseph Apia. Your thoughts?
Thank you. All too soon, the presentations are over. And indeed, this afternoon, we have witnessed the combination of science and technology at its best. I say well done. You had a very good introduction. I'm really pleased with that. In such topics, when we are able to have an in-depth study of it, you must be supported by statistics, and you were able to do that perfectly. Then your research work that had landed you to what we saw at the tail end of the program. We also saw that there are inventions that had come in since science and technology is the program that is before you. I really appreciate your innovations in the presentations and all that went on to give us this good work. Individually, your last presentation, I saw it as such, but I'm looking at it from the holistic point of view, that if you are going to do it in Accra here, how will as many people get access to what you demonstrated to us? On the whole, you have done well. Well done. Thank you.
Well, you can also let us know what your thoughts are about the solution that Happy Kids put forward. Let us know using the hashtag BestBrain. It's now time for us to put and collate all the marks, and we get to find out which two schools will be making it to the grand finale. This is indeed Best Brain on Citi TV. And the moment of truth is finally here. It's time for us to figure out which of these schools will be making it to the grand finale. I am not exactly sure which schools will be making it, but we're finding out in a few minutes because I have the results here in my hand. So, let's get straight into it. Judge 1 scored Christ the King International School 80.25. Judge 2 scored Christ the King 74.625. And Judge 3 scored Christ the King 67.25. Silicon Valley scored, at least for Judge 1, 93.25. For Judge 2, 90.375. And Judge 3, 71.125. Happy Kids scored 87.625, 88.0, and 81.75. At the end of it all, when the averages were put together, these schools will be representing heavily in the grand finale. Happy Kids School came through with 86%, Silicon Valley came through with 85%, and Christ the King International School came through with 74%. And so these two schools, Silicon Valley International School and Happy Kids, will be vying for the crown of which school is packed with the students with the best brain.